I'm Hamdi Mohammed, and I'm the Director of the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs. Thank you so much for being here today. Again, my name is Hamdi Mohammed, and I'm with the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs. This is our first resource fair that we put on for the city of Seattle. What a beautiful sight. This is a room united for purpose, passion, and possibility. On behalf of the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs, I welcome you all to this beautiful event. This is an event about celebration, about belonging, service, and partnership. Today we gather here not just as government agencies or organizations, but as one community, committed to ensuring that everyone who calls Seattle home feels seen, feels supported, and feels valued. Let's begin. I also want to begin by recognizing Mayor Bruce Harold, who's with us today, and Deputy Mayor Wong, who's here with us. They both bring such strong leadership here in the city of Seattle. They bring a vision that reminds us of our city's strength, that our city's strength relies on its people, on all of you who is in this room with us today. That's every neighborhood, that's every language that is spoken in the city of Seattle, and every story. We have over 40 organizations represented here in this room today, made up of our government agencies and organizations and community organizations. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here. This is a living network of care, connection, and opportunities, from legal services to housing support to organizations who support our small businesses here locally. Those who are focused on workforce development, job trainings are in the room. We have folks who are tabling that work on English language and making sure that people have access to education here locally in our city of Seattle. We're not alone in this city. This city is about making connections and us standing up for our community members. At the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs, our mission is very simple. It's to make sure that we uphold the promise of Seattle, to ensure that everyone in the city of Seattle feels welcomed here. It's about connecting newcomers to resources, ensuring that the city can provide legal assistance, workforce development opportunities. We work across city departments to expand language access, ensure that every resident, no matter where their background is, regardless of their immigration status, they can access services with dignity and understanding. That's what our office does. We also partner with so many of you in community. Our community organizations are the backbone of the work that we do. I want to take this time to thank the incredible staff that we have at the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs who's represented there. Please stand up if you're not standing. They did an incredible job pulling all of you together. I bring vision and I have these big ideas, and it really takes a team to execute on it. And so the food that's being provided here, setting up the room, connecting you all together, they really made that happen. So I thank you all from deep down in my heart and say thank you so much for the work that you do every single day here in the city of Seattle. You all might have heard recently, the mayor made a big announcement. Who heard the big announcement related to the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs? Some of you heard. He recently announced that we are going to have hopefully once the budget passes, a $4 million investment to strengthen our rapid response program, to expand access to legal defense, immigration assistance for children and families across the city of Seattle, and to increase opportunities when it comes to workforce development and pathways to job training in our city. This is huge for Seattle. We thank the mayor for his vision on that, because here's what we all know, all of us who are in this room. Immigrants are the backbone of our economy here. They start businesses that anchor our neighborhoods. They work the jobs that keep our hospitals, airports, classrooms running. They're innovators. They create. They contribute billions of dollars to our Washington state economy. And the mayor understands that, and he's making those investments in our community to ensure that people are not only surviving in the city of Seattle, but that they are thriving. Here's the thing, Seattle's story is the immigration story, one that is about hope, resilience, and shapes progress. When we open doors to stand together, we rise. To our community-based organization, again, who is in this room, to the city departments who are here today, I say thank you. You are turning our city government into something that feels human, something that feels real. And that is essential when it comes to public service. So we thank you. Now it is such a great honor for me to introduce someone whose story embodies that same spirit. Mayor Bruce Harold is the son of a Black father and a Japanese mother, a family's story that is rooted in resilience, in faith, in love. His story mirrors the story of this city: diversity, determination, and a commitment to justice. At a time when the national landscape feels uncertain, when fear is replaced with compassion, Mayor Harold has stood firm with our communities. Through his executive orders, he has directed the city departments to protect our communities, to prepare when our federal government overreaches, and ensuring that the budget remains a moral document that reflects who we are in the city of Seattle. Under his leadership, we're not just responding to these times, we are defining them by investing in our communities, by expanding opportunities, by leading with heart. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Bruce Harold.
Thank you, Albie. Very honored. Let me level set very quickly. 3 words. We will win. Yeah. We will win. The immigrant and refugee community will win. Now, I want to give you a little history lesson for those that don't know what the Middle Passage was about. So the Middle Passage was one of the most inhumane chapters in global history. The involuntary transportation and enslavement of Africans coming here to this country, over 13 million, nearly 1/5 didn't make it. Communities that are oppressed are resilient and strong. Black Americans have survived the Jim Crow laws, the Plessy versus Ferguson decision, the Dred Scott decision. People like Trump, they do not win over justice. Period. Full stop. You are a resilient community. I think in my introduction that it was an executive order that put my mother in a concentration camp. So when I look at what's happening now under Trump's maniacal policies, we will win. Many of you speak different languages, different cultures, different religions. But what we have in common is our thirst for justice. And you know you're lucky in this sense. You're lucky in this sense that every now and then something happens in our lives where you really are put to the test. What do you really stand for? You know, when I was a political science student at the University of Washington, we studied different theories, and I would always think, well, if I were ever in a position of power, like you all are in right now, you're in positions of power. If I was ever in a position of influence, as you all are, if I were ever surrounded by people that see things the way I do, that could help me, as all of you are, what would I really do? Because it's sort of easy to do when you're just reading a textbook and it sounds sort of cool. Yeah, I do this, I do that. You're lucky because now we have the opportunity to show what we're made out of. Okay? This is when our backs are against the wall. And if you read anything about strategy or warfare or justice fighting, you realize the first thing we have to know is who our enemy is. This week, other executive orders where we'll make sure that all of our city departments are unified in what we're doing to fight against this tyrannical president. We are now living in times where, as mayor, I have to authorize lawsuit after lawsuit. Let me remind you that the federal government should have a sacred pact with us. The federal government should be helping us help your children optimize their life, helping us with translation services, helping us with cancer research, helping us with transportation projects. We should be fighting our federal government for this in this war. They should be helping us make this city more affordable such that families like my mom and dad who didn't go to college could live here. But here we are, family. When I say our backs are against the wall, that's only temporary, because now we are out in the middle of the room, holding hands, fighting together. So I want to thank you, Hamdi Mohammed. The first thing I did was, in this space, is I said I have to hire a superstar, someone that's smarter than me, definitely better looking than me, tenacious, and hardworking. And so under your leadership and your phenomenal department, we are honored to work with all of the community-based organizations here in our space here in Seattle. So I close by saying a very simple thought. Let's show the entire country. I talk to these mayors all around the country. Let's show the entire country how we get down here in Seattle. Okay?
That's right.
All right, one Seattle, thank you for being here. We're relying with you. We'll fight for you. Thank you.
When I'm invited to read places where I actually start by reading a poem written by someone else. So here's a poem, one of my favorites of all time, by Paul Celan. I hear that the axe has flowered. I hear that the place can't be named. I hear that the bread which looks at him heals the hanged man, the bread baked for him by his wife. I hear they call life our only refuge. My name's Duji Tahat. I was born in the Philippines to a Filipino mother and a Jordanian father. I start when I'm invited to read with a poem by someone else because I find that it is a helpful way to place myself in a tradition, to place myself in a conversation, in a particular context, and to sort of bring the room with me. Paul Celan was not an immigrant in sort of our conventional sense. Paul Celan was a German Jew who survived the concentration camps. He's probably my favorite poet of all time. He's up there. And I think about something he said all the time, that his task as a poet was to sort of break German with German. It like really tortured him that as a survivor of the concentration camps that he had to write in German because that was the only language he knew. And it was the German language that made the laws that created the concentration camps. And so when I think of my own vocation in language, I'm sort of constantly thinking about that relationship. I think so much that the great gift and struggle of being an immigrant in a place like America is the constant remixing and reformulation of cultural influences and products that we all have to sort of individually imagine for ourselves, and then together sort of make happen. And as a result, we produce a whole new way of being, one that like hasn't been scripted before. If you will, to borrow from Paul Celan, it is a way of breaking Americanness with its own kind of Americanness. Seattle became my city long before America became my country, so I'm truly grateful to be in a room with so many people who are invested in the same project. I'm going to close with a poem of my own. It's a little bit longer. But I want to first thank Azmi Haroon and Director Hamdi Mohammed and the entire Office of Immigration and Refugee Affairs for bringing everyone here and for inviting me to read. And I want to thank all of you who are here in this room as well, because you are taking on the great, difficult, but beautiful project of making a place ours. On devotion. Oh, this is my very Seattle poem. I kind of, I feel like when I'm asked to read as the Seattle Civic Poet that this is the poem I should read. It's okay to laugh, there are jokes. Some people feel like, especially the opener, it's actually a joke, but people feel like because it's poems, you can't laugh. On devotion. White folks do land acknowledgments in historically black neighborhoods. The International District always has been Asian, but perhaps because Hispanics, insofar as these are coherent categories, moved in next door, it changed. So now, both live where once was a Hooverville tent city mayored by a weird woman with a broom. In my neighborhood, I'm new to the turn of the till on this patch of earth. The morning plenary of baubles in the bamboo, the blue jay's flight path, omen, or portent. There are here smaller and fewer trees, so a different constellation of birds, small gods for which I do not yet know how to pray, what bone to pick or burn flit. I've never had a yard in the city. If the line is a plow pulled one end to another, readying dirt for seed, my sentences are the patch. The syntax of my garden make no sense some seasons, as in what floats above them shape them more than I would like to admit. Of course, there is what we say, and then there is devotion. Balance of faith and action, for which there is a version that makes us believe in the certainty of solitude so hideously mortal. But listen, reader, beloved, even here, there is no de-peopled substitute. Even in our glass sphere city, cannot self-serve at a corner store or deliver by drone. Devotion is the till, the tool, the towel that stinks even after the wash, the air that breathes you knows all manner of lungs and furnaces and shivers in the leaves, the trees, equanimity weathers. Feel so much like bravery in its interest in truth, or what it is as opposed to what I want it to be. Pain is not disorientation. Disorientation attends pain when we are not ready to be with hurt, to believe we can withstand what comes next. We must expand what we know can grieve. Scroll, skip, tap. Urban planners have historically planted, I learned on TikTok, male trees because less mess, and because private property is inherently theft, and because patriarchy and allergies. That is a joke. A history of displacement is basically invasion, but later I read trees are in fact very queer. Most tree species possessing both male and female flowers. Either that or every flower has both pollen and ovaries. I watched a play today, and I don't know if I want to be the main character or be her. Today a play watched me torn. It is a gift to be the object, to be in touch, to be with another asking, to be owed, owing, what devotion to desire. At all times, I am learning we are all prompted, being inducted into the grammar of animacy. When I say we, I mean the poppies too. The mimosa tree before and after it blooms. The 200-year-old cedar, the biggest in the city, cedering in our front yard. The coyotes frequent less on the high hill. The hummingbirds, sweet water, the rabbits, all verbs. My grief is a relational dialect. When I divorce my pain, the arrangement flattens, falls apart. Everywhere is home. My preferred language is listening, so I assume thanks and please, which can easily be mistaken for impoliteness. A kind of savagery projected onto me by a social positionality stunned by the fear of knowledge. How it came to be, the only major American city named after an indigenous person whose defining characteristic was friendliness to settlers is now the seat of a county named after a civil rights leader who warned against the recruitment of his memory in the service of empire is a kind of devotion too. People have rabbit nature, I'm telling you. My lover told me this. It is bidirectional in every orientation, and the history of making it make sense is a kind of conquest. Hammer straight the bright line of progress. It is so inevitable to lose people without attending to what we've done to lose them. Imagine what we've done with the earth. The place arounds and homes us. Nasturtiums sprout overnight when no one looks. Community is a word that works even when no one knows it. The only pronoun confusion that matters is that which determines who is alive to decide how we or they live. Thank you.
So much, Gigi. Really appreciate that. And thank you for everyone being here. That's the end of the remarks portion, but please feel free to grab some food outside. There's also a photo booth outside, and feel free to keep mingling and definitely meet each other as well. And we're very, very appreciative of everyone who's taken their time and their work and to be here today. So thank you again, and please help yourself to some food as well if you haven't. Thank you.